hour number 2. Hour number 1 filled with lightning talk. You want to go back and listen to it? I gave you a trade proposal. It's on the iHeartRadio app. Search The Nick Wise Show. There's a couple different things I want to bring up about the Rays right now. There's something that I noticed about the stadium this week. Not the new stadium that we hope to get. I'm talking about the Trop. There were so many different ways I wanted to go with the Rays today because I feel like they've kind of been, they've been playing this fantastic baseball, and that should be what's highlighted, the on-the-field stuff, but it's hard to ignore the off-field stuff, especially when it comes to the stadium. And so that kind of has, taken over the conversation and kind of outshined what's happening on the field. And so I was going to just kind of throw it out there. What do you guys prefer to talk about, on-field or off-field? Let you decide. Call in. And if you want to talk off-field, I'll do it, right? It's the stadium talk. Everybody always wants to talk about it. We can do that, I suppose. And then I was going to say, all right, if you want to talk about the on-field stuff, let's talk about the on-field stuff. And there's a number of ways we can go with this. Like, what in the world has surprised you the most about this team? For me, it's the brand of baseball they're playing. I find this team so exciting. They are a very fun team to watch. Now, over the last couple of days, what's been the biggest surprise for me is the resurgence of the bullpen. The resurgence of the bullpen has changed everything for me in my expectations of this team. A few weeks ago, relief pitching kind of felt like the one thing that could derail the season, and now they're locking games down. Listen to this stat about your bullpen. And maybe I was wrong when I was, mocking the Rays front office organization. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now, maybe I'll end up correct, and maybe this is all just a joke and it's only 7 days. I hope I'm wrong. There are many times where I will say that in sports radio. I hope to be wrong. Where I mocked the front office was they said the bullpen was just a bunch of bad luck last year. And I'm like, bad luck? You had 162 games last year telling you it's not bad luck. You go start this season off, not bad luck. Turns out maybe it was just a little bit of bad luck. Now, the reason they called it bad luck, they led the league in a lot of categories last year. Unfortunately, one of the categories they led, most home runs given up. Once you take away those home runs, the bullpen looks so much better. Over the last 7 days, 29.2 innings pitched and a .61 ERA. Which is the best in the majors. That is the bullpen. The starting rotation, they've been getting their flowers. We know what they've done. They've always been impressive. I mean, welcome back Shane McClanahan. He's starting to look like the sky is the limit for Shane. He was electric yesterday. The defense has finally cleaned itself up. The early season errors, sloppy baseball that was costing them games, that's disappeared. And how about the production from the catcher spot? Massive bonus. So credit to Eric Neander in the front office, just putting together a fantastic team with lots of depth and a group of guys that love each other and really care about each other. Because that, believe it or not, in baseball can take you a long ways. And this team has that chemistry. Teams that spend a lot of money don't always have that. Let's talk about the Mets. Juan Soto was out for a couple of weeks, was asked, did you talk to any of your teammates while you were out? He said no. You were in the middle of a 12-game losing streak? You didn't talk to a single teammate while you were out? Do you think that would happen here? If Jonathan Aranda or Yandy Diaz or Junior Caminero was out for a couple of weeks, do you think those guys would go 2 weeks without talking to anybody on the team? Not a chance. Ryan Pepio's out all year. You know what he did? He got the guys together. They were at Game 7. Like, this team has something that other teams don't. And it is giving us a really fun product to watch. Now, that's the on-field stuff I like right now. Now, some off-field stuff, not stadium talk, but something I noticed this week at Rays games. Toronto was in town. The Blue Jays aren't doing so great. I live up near Dunedin. I know they love their Blue Jays. I got to see that crap everywhere. I was complaining about it the other day. Take it down. We are not Toronto. I understand they play baseball there for 6 weeks. I don't need the Toronto garbage everywhere. If you could remove kindly all the Blue Jays stuff from your business in Dunedin, I'd appreciate it. You don't need to welcome Jays fans. I don't need a Jays calendar. I don't care about the Jays. How about some Rays stuff? But with the big Toronto fan base in this area, I noticed something yesterday when I went to the game, and I noticed something while watching the game Tuesday. And then I had to verify it with Aaron Jacobson, who was there. And I asked him, I said, were there a lot of Blue Jays fans there on Tuesday? He said, no. He said it was definitely not a takeover. And I can also confirm yesterday was also not a Toronto takeover. Yesterday's attendance was just over 11,000. The attendance on Tuesday night was just over 10,000. Not good. So my question that I'd like your thoughts on, do you prefer 10,000 to 11,000 in all Rays fans? Or do you like 20 to 25,000, but you're outnumbered by the opponent? Because that's a huge thing in this town. Rays fans do not like when other teams come into their building and root for other teams. And I get it, but I also understand where we live. And there's no stopping that. It's going to happen with all the teams here. It is what it is. Happens in Miami. Happens in Jacksonville football games. Happens at Magic games in Orlando. We live in paradise. It is what it is. So for me, I would prefer to see 20 to 25,000 people in the seats, even if half of them were Blue Jays fans yesterday. That's where I stand on that. I don't care about being the away team at home. I like the fact that the stadium is packed no matter who the fan is, because I think we got to be able to prove we can fill a ballpark up. And the transplants, we need them, despite not liking the teams they root for, we need them to help us out in that department. Now, Tim, you and I see things differently on this topic. You would prefer it to be just Rays fans at half the number. Me, I want a bigger number, and if I have to deal with the Yankee and Boston douchebags, sorry, Tim, I will handle with the douchebags to have more people in the stands. Plus, there is no better feeling than watching a Yankee fan walk back to his car all sad. I enjoy it. I love Yankee tears. They're amazing. They're absolutely incredible. We got to experience them a couple weeks ago. They're fun. Doesn't bother me. Give me more fans, even if half the stadium is the other team. But I noticed this week, and maybe that's because Toronto's having a hangover of the World Series, there were not a lot of Blue Jays fans there. I've gone to a lot of games where the Blue Jays were in town. I've never seen it like what I saw this week. They just didn't come. It was a majority Rays fans, but not a lot of people in attendance. So give me the full stadium. Give me the other team's fans, because that's how you end up getting a higher payroll, which is what we all want, right? The more money the Rays can put into their pocket, the more money we have to spend on the team. Now, Tim, you see it differently. Why is that?
Well, I see it differently because I grew up going to Fenway Park. I grew up going to a place where, not now,
He can still smell the urine, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, that place was loaded with Red Sox fans. It was Red Sox fans. You had trickles of opposing teams' fans. And listen, when I'm at a home game, I expect to see the home fans show up and show out. And that's what I want. I don't want away fans. I don't want this to be primarily away fans. I want this to be a majority Rays fans. Now, if that means it's half the stadium is full, then so be it. And listen, I get your point about wanting the money, getting bigger payroll, this, that, and the other. I'm looking at the new stadium is going to help that out. We'll touch on that maybe later sometime this week or next week. But listen, to have opposing fans fill up the stadium to the point where even the Rays players are thinking that this is an away game, not a home game, I hate that. That's an awful mindset to have. So give me half the stadium full of the hometown fans.
888-388-0957. How do you prefer the Trop? 10,000, all Rays fans. 20,000, half Rays fans, half opponent. I get that argument in Boston, but nobody from Florida moves to Boston. It's cold. It's not as nice as it is here. This is paradise. People come down here. We're transplants. They're going to come. They're going to support their team. And you know what? When their team leaves, I think a lot of those fans actually support the Rays too. I would prefer as many fans in the ballpark as possible, even if it is the opponent.